Happy Tuesday. Welcome, welcome. Let me get back on my screen here. Real Lau is here. Harley Punk is here. Welcome. Aunt Kathy Sows, Chrissy Woo. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm Dana, aka Draz, and I get on my treadmill in the mornings and on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Instead of shopping on Whatnot, I get on and walk and talk with you guys. So, seller help and chat. So, anything that I can do to help guide you to where to get certain resources or how to do certain things or tips and tricks for how to succeed on Whatnot, I'm happy to try and help. I have about 18 or 17, 17 different things in my auction tab that are not for sale. They're just guides for you to screenshot. So you can go through the auction tab, and if there's one that you want to look at, you just tap the picture, tap it again, make it big, and then scroll through if there's multiple pages. So, all the different topics things. Some of them, the ones that are branded Whatnot, are official Whatnot guides. They can also find out there in, I think they post these all in like the Seller Academy and in help.whatnot.com. It just depends on the topic. And then some of the other items in my auction tab are some that I put together. So, for example, choosing basic shipping settings is one that I put together. And you could read through that, and it helps you as a new seller decide what shipping settings are going to work best for you based on what you sell. And being new, it's important to have the correct shipping settings for what you're selling so that you don't get messed up before you even start selling. And then this goes along with a video that you can watch in my YouTube account, which is in the show notes. And that YouTube video is in the lives on my YouTube account. So if you go to at Draz on Whatnot on YouTube, type in the ampersand because it'll be easier to find that way. Just type in the exact account and then go to the lives and find the video that is titled Don't Sync Your Shipping. And it has a little ship emoji on the title, so it's easy to find. And watch that video because I go over all the shipping settings, all the boxes and packages and types of packages, and how to decide what shipping is going to work best for what you sell. So if you're struggling with shipping, make sure you watch those. And then I have a couple of other things that I've put together. My top 10 tips are in there. This is a really good chart that was created by Blazin' Bunny, who's also a seller who does seller chats. And she said I could share it. It's just a nice little chart visual to help you understand which shipping service you can use with which type of packaging. So if you the kind of person who likes to have a visual, this is really helpful. My question from Laura: how do you track your fabric inventory? Worried about taxes. I track it by purchase. So whenever I buy fabric, either in a haul or new or whatever, I just track how much I spent on that haul, because ultimately, for tax purposes, you just have to know what your cost of goods were. When you're filing, you just need to have an accountant that knows how to do the filing for small businesses. And that's really all I can say because I can't really give advice. Every state, every person's situation is different. So just get an accountant that knows how to do small business tax filing, and you should be good to go. So, make sure you just track it by, keeping track of how much you spent on certain things. And I don't think I haven't had any issues with having to have, exact numbers of inventory. That's not, because you're not like um, you're not like a large business where they have to have exactly how much they have left and blah, 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 blah. So just do the small business way. Is there a way to get an invoice from Whatnot for all purpose purchases, like with shipping all totaled? Um, Not that I know of. So you're just going to need to, but you do have in your analytics your total sales, and then you can switch it to your net. And then all of your expenses, which includes, everything you had to pay for, which would be commissions and the transaction fees and any shipping you had to pay, are subtracted out. So then you've got your gross sales and your net sales. So just switch the analytics to that. If you're talking purchases, trying to think if they have no, not that I know of. There's no way to have a totaled report of all your purchases. Honestly, does anyone want to know? I don't. But if you buy things for your business, if you're sourcing on Whatnot, which be very careful about sourcing on Whatnot, because you might be overpaying because of, shipping and stuff. I mean, I know you can get some good deals in bulk on certain things, but be careful about that. Yeah, Aunt Kathy's like, nope, I don't want to know. Then just save your, you can go into your orders, and you can also save invoices that you get, if sellers put the packing slip in there. And then mark, save the ones that were specifically purchases for resale. So, but yeah, I don't think that you can get purchases. Oh, download purchases. Oh, okay. You go to activity on desktop and scroll down. It says download purchases. Oh, is it like a spreadsheet form? I've never done that. So, yeah. So on web, here's the thing too. Anything you need to look at in more detail, please go to your web version. It's just there's not the mobile version really doesn't have a lot of features for looking at things in detail in your business stuff. And the web version just has so much more information for you to get. So always use your web version when you're trying to figure out things like that. Includes everything, including giveaways. You can select by year. Yes. Yeah. So those are the reports you can get. That apparently you can get it on purchases too. All right. Thank you, Dee, for the info. Thanks for popping in. Yes, you will be alarmed. That's why I don't look. I just saved the ones that I know were business related purchases. So, yeah. Rockin' Habits has a trading card show tonight at 6:30. Please give them a follow and bookmark that show, especially if you like trading cards. All right. Let me get back on my screen here and see if we have anything I missed here. Let's see. And yes, make sure you're following Dee. She's our resident techie awesome person who knows all things tech. how to navigate the app a lot better than most of us, and also can help you with things like multicasting and OBS software and those kinds of things. So make sure you have her bookmarked. And Dee, when is your next seller help? So Bert and I will be on tomorrow evening together doing our monthly community support show, talking about goals for next year. And honestly, I think it's one of the most important topics. So 9:23 a.m. Pacific, coffee talk and tech chat. So I don't think I'll be on that long, or I would rate into you because you're an hour earlier than me every Tuesday. So if you're on, I'll raid you, but I think I won't finish by then. Or I mean, will have been finished by then. So goals. Why do I think that's one of the most important things? Well, because if you don't even know what you're trying to achieve on here, then you're just flailing. You're just kind of putting your finger in the wind and going, well, today maybe this will work. Tomorrow maybe that will work. Blah, blah, blah. I don't really have a set plan, a set goal. It's super important to know what it is you want to achieve on here. And it can be as simple as I just want to make enough money to pay for my buying habits. It could be that simple, you know. But have a goal so that, I mean, especially that one, right? If that's your goal, then you need to know how much you need to make every week to support how much you want to spend every week. And then you need to keep track of what you're making so that when you go to spend, you don't overspend, right? So it could be as simple as that. And then always agree with the collector's vault, always have a stretch goal. Whatever your goal is, always when you hit that goal, you're like, woohoo, I hit my goal. Do a little bit more, because then you're always growing instead of just staying the same. Yes, use the seller analytics section to know what you're doing. So you've got lots of different ways that you can look at your progress on the app. There's reports you can download, and there's different ways. Just go to that analytics page, and there's different ways you can change things to look at things. So we'll pull up some of that on the show tomorrow night and show you a little bit, of how you can look at things to see where you're at, see what your progress is. And a lot of times people don't look at just the little fields of how you can change things, and they don't realize all the different things you can see. So that's important. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, how setting goals really does make a big difference, because then you can be more focused on trying to achieve what it is you need to achieve and less focused on what everybody else is doing, or just like I said, just kind of flailing and not really having a set plan or a direction that you want to go in. All right, let's continue to talk about all the resources that I have for you here. So in the show notes, I have starred bullets. There's 5 different starred bullets. Even these 5 things, a lot of people don't even realize how much Whatnot has for you as far as resources to get information and get help. So those 5-star bullets. The first one is the Whatnot seller account that Whatnot has on the app. So it's like an account like your account. And they do regular shows there monthly. And quite a few of those shows right now are focused on new sellers. So this is what the Whatnot seller account looks like. So make sure you're following that account, and that you go in and bookmark the shows. They have a show tomorrow where they are interviewing Tacos and Roses, who is a very successful seller here on Whatnot. I love the seller interviews. You get lots of good tips and insight into how a successful seller is doing things and ideas. It gives you a lot of ideas for what maybe you could do to change things up if things aren't working for you. So make sure you have that one bookmarked. It's tomorrow at noon my time. So 11 Pacific, 1 Central, 2 East Coast time. So tomorrow afternoon, essentially. So make sure you have that bookmarked. The next start bullet in my show notes is the Whatnot app. And that is the YouTube account, the official YouTube account. It looks like this. I suggest typing in the exact address, which is at Whatnot app, because it's easier to find, because there's a lot of Whatnot content out there on YouTube. And if you just type in Whatnot, you're not going to get this official page. So at Whatnot app, and it'll come up with that logo, official logo. So what this is the past shows and other videos that were on that account, that were live shows from that account that are now posted on the Whatnot app account on YouTube. So you can watch past shows, and there's a ton in here that are specific to new sellers. Like this one is seller provided support. It was posted 2 weeks ago. We've got interviews with the sellers that are on here. Just go to this and scroll through. Here's a how to stream with OBS and Whatnot. Market your shows with sweeteners. Just seller provided support, shipping options on Whatnot, how to schedule a show. I mean, there's some just really basic ones for new sellers on here. One of the ones that's really good if you're struggling with how to get people in your show and what things you need to be doing is this one, where Kenny interviewed Colleen, who is a product manager, I think is her title. And she talked a lot about the analytics and how it works and things you need to be doing to make sure you are maximizing the things that you can do to have the what is the word I'm looking for? Have the app work to do the things that the app, how the app works to then favor you in search. So there's a word my brain is not pulling up right now. Anyway, so make sure you watch that one. That's a really good one. So that's another resource. So we're referring to my show notes. So make sure you open those. And the third starred bullet in the show notes is the Seller Academy at Whatnot. It's just selleracademy.whatnot.com. If you're new to selling and you haven't gone through the Seller Academy, you need to do that. It's all the basics about how to sell, and Whatnot has put together a lot of tutorials and videos, step-by-step instructions to help you get started. And I think it's important that you always go to the source from the source first. So, people tend a lot of times, it's like the guy who buys his kid a bicycle for Christmas and then just opens the box, dumps it out, and tries to put it together, when right sitting there next to him is the manual of how to put it together. And then he gets frustrated and it never gets put together. And then finally, the wife comes and reads the instructions and puts the bike together, right? So always read the instructions, which means go to the official source, which is Whatnot, and go through their tutorials and their information so that you can get it right from the official source first. And then, you reach out to other sellers, you come to things like this, because, the way that Whatnot might put some information out there, put a tutorial together, isn't as easy for everyone to understand. Maybe you need to hear it from someone else's perspective, or have someone else explain it in a different way, or show it to you. So it doesn't hurt to get some additional information, but you should always be going to the official source first, for the official information of how things are working. All right. And then the fourth start bullet in there is help.whatnot.com. When you're new, you should have that on speed dial, so to speak. When you have a question, go to help.whatnot.com, and in your mobile app, it's just in your account, frequently asked questions. Type in whatever it is you're looking for. All the articles on that topic will come up, and usually you can find, information about what you're trying to figure out. The challenge with that is sometimes you don't even know the right word or words that you need to type into help, because you don't know what something's called. That's always a challenge. So coming to shows like this can help you even figure out what's it called. How do I do this? Oh, I didn't know it was called that. You didn't know how to look it up, right? That's a challenge. All right. And then the last one on here is the blog. Whatnot has a blog at blog.teamwhatnot.com. And I was going to pull that up and show you the blog. So let me get that pulled up. So here we go. My granddaughter had my iPad last night and did something weird to the keyboard. Let me see. It's split. How do you unsplit the keyboard? Is D still here? Merge. There we go. Hang on. There we go. Now I can do it. Okay. Blog.team whatnot.com. Here's another tip that I just was thinking about. There's really not a whole lot of stuff when you're searching for information and trying to figure out how things work. The way that software and everything's programmed, it's really kind of difficult for you to mess things up too much. So my advice is just play with things and figure things out. Click on things. Oh, that's what that is. Anytime there's a little three bars, three dots, arrows down, all the places that would maybe open up menus or additional information, just see what's there. Play with it, find things. So what am I talking about? See, like, what's this? The two lines. It's some kind of menu. So here it takes us to where you switch between Europe and North America. That's what that is. But just press things, go find things. So here's the Whatnot blog. And they've got an article that was just posted on the 8th talking about 2026 and Whatnot, how live shopping is redefining retail. Go read the article. It's going to give you some happy, exciting news about the fact that you're selling online in one of the hottest ways to sell in one of the hottest marketplaces. You're going to be excited about it. Okay, so lots of good articles here on the Whatnot blog. Go read them. You're going to get some tips. You're going to get some ideas. You're going to feel good about where you're at. And you're going to think about ways that you can be part of this exponential growth in a amazing new way that people are all shopping. Okay. So blog.teamwhatnot.com. It's the 5th starred bullet in my show notes. All right. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions. If you have a question, put it in the chat with a question mark, and I can try and help guide you, give you some answers. And yeah, welcome in, Pretty Bye and B Square Designs. Sarah WWW is here. How are you today? Trish is here. I'm just finally looking at who else here. So welcome in. Let's talk about an article that I had pinned. I had no idea about using Whatnot on the web. Mind blowing, and will help me mod my sister shows. Yes. Web version is so much richer. However, I would say for modding, you definitely want to be on the mobile app during the show, but you could have the web version open, to be able to look things up or something. But if you're modding, you need to be very intently in the chat, and it's a lot easier probably on the mobile device. The web version for actual shopping and being in the show is actually not so great because, like, for example, you can't enter giveaways, you can't use coupons, or there's certain things if you're shopping on the web version that you can't do in the mobile or that you can't do that you can do in the mobile version. Hey, Phil Trip Quilty, how are you today? Welcome in. But I use the web version to run my shows because the dashboard on the web version is so much richer. And I also use it for shipping, web version. So Trish said, do you use your iPad when you're working on shipping? No, I use the web version on my laptop. If you're pulling up the web version on your iPad, then it's the same difference as, your laptop, but the screen's so small that you have to keep constantly scrolling, and it just is annoying. It's bad enough on a laptop. You do have to scroll over on some things, but yeah. Differences in format not helpful. Well, kind of have to look at it this way. So they do try to make it as seamless as possible, but programming for a web version, a PC version of the software, not the software, the app, is completely a different programming set than for a mobile device. It's just like night and day difference. So, and what you can fit on a screen on a mobile is very different than what you can fit on a screen on the web version, right? So there's that. And then when you're talking mobile device, you also have to recognize that Apple iOS programming for that is completely different than Android. And so they can't always do everything the same simply because the way you program for the different things is completely different. The languages and the way it's programmed are completely different. So it's a challenge for them to try and make it all the same. Because sometimes they just can't. Do they favor either? I would say they favor iOS, Apple, just because iOS is more widely used to a certain extent and easier to have them do more complicated features the way that it's programmed, from my understanding. So they can more easily put some of the complex programming features in iOS than in Android. So, yeah. So Field Trip says so many considerations. I am a graphic UX designer for years. The time it takes for each little feature, you'd never believe. Yeah, exactly. And that is why I know you guys, we all get upset when certain features go away or they change something a certain way. But the intricacies of trying to get an app to work across multiple platforms and have all the features that we all want is mind-blowingly difficult. And then to keep it all running 24 hours a day for the amount of growth they have, all I have to say is I salute the programmers. I mean, holy crap, right? Yes, and you've also got regulations. And I mean, it's an amazing feat just to keep it live, let alone adding new features all the time and so on and so on. So, yeah, yes, no update goes unpunished. That's for sure. So kudos to all the people who keep it running, make it so we have a platform this amazing to work with. They work hard. They work hard. And do they love it? Yes, most of the time they love it. They're geeks. They're on there just like programming away. It's their life. They love it, but it is definitely a lot of hard work. And it's important when you find glitches or things that don't work right to report them in venues like this so that we can pass along the little things that you find so they can go in and fix it. So those of us who are part of the community support team have a way that we can directly pass along things that people have seen or things that have happened so that they can go in and tweak it and fix it and so on. And they are on top of it. I can tell you that I've reported glitches or things, and if it's possible to fix it quickly, they do fix it quickly. So they do pay attention. They do want it to work the best possible way it can. They're on top of it. So yeah, so always come into shows like this in the people that are the community sellers so that we can report that. Do you have meetings with them? Yes. Not frequently. We have one that we do about every other month. And then we have some group chats that we participate with. Hey, welcome in, Hyper Fixated Mama. Thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate that. How are you? What do you sell? Let me click your profile and give you a follow. So Hyper Fixated Mama is Stephanie. She sells press-on nails and occasionally throws randomness like crafts and accessories into the mix. Nail shows every Tuesday morning, and it shows her next show is on the 16th of December. So everybody give her a follow, especially if you or someone you know and love needs to upgrade their nails. I like your thumbnail. That's really cool. The neon hands with the bright pink nails. Very catchy. And nice backdrop there. So everybody give Hyper Fixated Mama a follow and bookmark those upcoming shows. You can tell I definitely could do something with my nails. I sew and craft and sell fabric. Inevitably my nails get trashed. I don't know. I see some sellers that always have beautiful nails, but I'm thinking they probably are at the salon. I don't do it. So yeah, I'm sorry. I have icky nails. Well, I don't know that they're icky. They're just kind of boring. They are what they are. Hyper says I don't judge. Good. Because they're not pretty. So yeah, I just don't have, because like a lot of the sellers that do close up, they always have these beautiful French manicured nails, and I'm just like, yeah, nope, doesn't happen. There were times in my life where I tried. Also, I have very thin brittle nails. So like if I tried, like my daughter is into the gel nails, and the last time I let her do them, it took me months to get that off. And by the time I got it all off, I don't think I had any nail left. So I was like, well, that's not happening again. So yeah. Yeah, I don't, well, that was, she does that gel kind where you put it under the little lamp, and it adheres and hardens, and you have to do special things to get it off. And it's like, nope. So yeah, it's like a resin almost. Yeah. So I don't know. It all depends on the brand. I started trying a brand called Beetles. That's one of the brands she uses. Yeah. So she's always asking for polish. She just started college this year, and I swear she spends more time painting her nails and painting other people's nails than she does on schoolwork. But since she's a straight A student, I can't complain. I just hope she's getting enough sleep. So yeah. So it's funny. So the that brand has a peel off kind. The barcode will protect your nails. Oh, see, that's a problem. I probably didn't have her put some kind of coating on there, huh? I let my teen use it, helped better with anxiety. Yeah, she is like an artist, like really good artist, and she does all these little intricate designs on people's nails. And I'm like, girl, you need to start charging for this service, because she'll do like roommates and friends' nails, and like 10 hours later, you could have charged $30 an hour. So yeah. Anyway, but it's all good. Like I said, if she got bad grades, I'd be hard on her, but she's a straight A student, so it's all good. It's your first time here. Well, welcome in South Texas Deals. Did you come over with the raid? Thank you so much again for that raid. All right. I don't do giveaways in this show because I'm just doing seller chat, and I don't expect people to buy things, and I don't want to have to ship things necessarily from these shows. It's just more informational. I'm walking on my treadmill chatting with you. I get on my treadmill in the mornings, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go on and chat instead of shop. Because that's when the idea came, is like I would get on the treadmill and walk, and I'm like on what, not buying stuff. And I'm like, it would be more productive for me and everybody else if I just went on and chatted with everybody else and shared resources. And so that is why I do this instead. And, it just kind of is what I do now. So I've been doing this almost 2 years, I think. Wow. No, probably about a year and a half. Walk and talk. I don't know. I'd have to look. So I don't walk super fast. They actually have shown that a slower paced, but regular pace walk actually burns more fat. So that's what I'm hoping for. Burn more fat, right? All right. So yeah, all the resources that I share are in the auction tab. So if you click the shop and then navigate to the auction tab, these are all different resources that I have in there for you to just screenshot. So you can just tap the picture, tap it again, take a screenshot. If it's a multiple page listing, you just scroll through and screenshot the different pages. A lot of these are official Whatnot guides that they've given us as community support team sellers. We share them. Once a month, we do a featured show that is a specific topic. And my featured show is tomorrow evening. We're going to be talking about goals for the new year. And I have that guide pinned in that show for tomorrow. So if you want to preview that before tomorrow's show, So go in and open this show. So there's Bert and I. Bert is my husband. We co-sell, and he'll be there with me in that show, and we'll be talking about it. So if you open that show, I already have that new document pinned in there, so you can click on that picture and go ahead and copy the pages of that. There's 3 pages, a front cover picture, and then 2 other pages. I'm actually quoted in this one. Let's see, what did I say? Have a business plan that makes sense for what outcome you want on what not, and then set goals to match your plan. Have a goal and a stretch goal. So when you meet your goals, you're motivated to stretch a bit. So that's my quote. Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's in there for you to copy for tomorrow if you want to preview it before tomorrow's show. And we're doing that in the evening, 7:30 Mountain Time. So stop in and let's chat about goals. And Bert's a lot of fun, so he'll have some good ideas. And yeah, thanks for joining. And thank you for the shout out, P. Tiffany. I do try to, give you guys a lot of, really, I feel like what I am is a clearinghouse of information. I just share with you my experience as a seller, and then I share all the resources that you can go and find. Because I think a lot of what's missing a lot of times is people just simply don't know where to go to get help or information. And I just share with you all the places to go and get information, and then share my experiences and give you some of my tips of things that have worked for me. And I'm not like the biggest, brightest, amazing seller on Whatnot. I'm actually pretty run of the mill. My husband and I do this full time. We are in the plus 55 category. And honestly, at this point, don't want to. We're consistently growing, but we really don't want to do premier selling because we don't want to hire other people, have to rent more space, have to work harder than we already are, et cetera, et cetera. So we're happy with the level that we're at. Although I'll be honest with you, I struggle because there's a lot of pressure to go premier status, but it means having to sell $50,000 worth in 3 months. And I look at the amount of work I would have to do, and I'm like, I mean, my life is very rich. I have, 3 kids, one's married, and I have a granddaughter, and I get to watch her 2 or 3 times a week for 3 or 4 hours. And it's the joy of my life. And I would rather be doing that than, shipping more packages just to get that 50,000. So I have my goals, and I have to stay focused on that. And, we make a really good living. I don't need more, if that makes sense. Right. Happiness is more important than the status. Now, if I manage to somehow fall upon fabric that sells for a lot more and I can do the same amount of shows and still sell the same amount of fabric but make a lot more, then sure, I'll go premier. But see what I'm saying? So it just depends on what your goals are, what you want to do. And even though it's hard, don't feel like you have to be at this level when this level is working for you or whatever. Be the best at wherever it is you want to be. Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely do this in a way that serves you. Yep. So I agree. All right. Yeah, we don't have to be giants. Um, Field Trip says, I've got a very anti-capitalist outlook in this capitalist hellscape we live in. Yeah, that's for sure. That's a good way to put it. Capitalist hellscape. I love that. It definitely is. Definitely is. And our category, our little niche categories of fabric and sewing and quilting and crafting, you guys, we have it good. Even though we've grown a lot and we have a lot of big sellers now, compared to other categories, we're in paradise, you guys, in our categories, because we just don't have the drama. We don't have the cutthroat attitudes. Most people are just super nice. And if we get a butthead that comes in here, boy, let me tell you, the sewers and quilters can put them in their place and get them out of there faster than anyone I've ever seen. It's like, what? 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 What are you doing here? Why are you saying that? Goodbye. So, yeah, it's awesome. So, yes, we have a very welcoming, awesome category, and we're very blessed. So, do everything you can to keep it that way. Anytime I've had, because, every seller every once in a while has a bugaboo come in your shows and that was a nice way to say it. Some jerk that's, whatever, I don't know, mental case, someone that comes in and you can just, it's hilarious how in our shows, people are just like, are you kidding? Because in some of the other categories, they would just ignore them because they get so much of that, you know. And in ours, we're like, nope, not happening. So, yeah. I was listening to Plus Size Gal Seller Chat, and she was telling stories. I had no idea there was so much drama in other categories. Yeah, I just don't even go into most of those other categories a lot. For one thing, I'm very conservative, religious person, and the language that goes on in some of those other categories, it's just like my ears are burning, and I can hear my mom on the other side, be like, get the heck out of there. You do not belong. I can't do it because I can't do the language. I can't do the shouting. I can't do the, feeling pressured to buy clothing and shoes and bags and all these other things that I don't need. And, in the meantime, someone in my own neighborhood doesn't have food on their table. That's not me, you know? So, yeah, not me. Yes, it's bad when you feel like you need to take a shower after listening to some of those sellers or reading the stuff people put in the chat. It's just like, ick, don't need it. So, but that's some people's vibe. And, I have to just kindly say that's not where I want to be. The world goes around with every type of person, and you decide where you want to live. So, yep. Yeah, the yelling and sellers getting mad. Yeah, it's just not my vibe at all. At all. Field Trip says, I'm sheltered, I guess. I only hang out with y'all. You know what? Yeah, it's our cozy corner, and you don't have to go there. I would recommend not to go there because you'll get tainted. So, yep. So, hyper fixated says, oh, I yell all the time. So, yeah. You just do what you do, and you will find your tribe, the people that love to be with you, enjoy you, want to be in your shows, and just bring your best you to the table. Bring your best you. Speaking of that, I think one of my best light bulb aha things that I put together is this document. If you haven't screenshotted this one before, it's more of a, it just really makes you think through the whole process of selling here. So I was trying to put together a show to help people attract and keep buyers in their show. And I'm like, it really is kind of simple. What's the formula? And you're going to laugh because the words that I was coming up with all started with F. And I was like, the F word, that's not me. But I thought I'm going to still keep it because people will remember it because of that, right? So the 5 F's of attracting buyers, which has nothing to do with the F bomb, but people will remember it because of that. So the 5 F's, if you haven't screenshotted this, it really just helps you think. So the number one thing on the 5 F's is having fun and making your shows fun. And I will tell you, if you are not having fun and enjoying the process and enjoying doing your shows, then either it's not for you or you need to switch up how you're doing it or what you're selling, because that comes through. If you're not enjoying this, it's the same as the job you hate that you left or that you want to leave. Don't do this the way you're doing it if it's not fun, if you're not enjoying it. Okay. So that's the number one thing on there. Number two, you have to do shows at a fast enough pace to keep it going and make people not want to leave. If they come into your show and there's dead air and you're off searching for something, or nobody's talking, or there's no sound, no movement, or there's just a lot of breaks like that in your show, people will leave. People will leave. Everybody, now that we have so much technology, people's attention span is less than a gnat. And you've got to keep their attention and keep it going. Now, does that mean that you have to run, 5-second sudden death auctions and change what you're showing every 3 seconds? No. It just means a good clip for your style of audience to keep people interested and engaged. Okay? Or that quiet cough. Yeah. So yeah, whatever that means for you, keep a nice pace so people are seeing that it's an engaging show and that you're there and you're showing things and they want to stick around to see what's next. Okay. And then the third thing on there is findings. You have to have good stuff. What does that mean? I don't know. Everybody likes different stuff, but you definitely have to have stuff people want to look at and want to buy. Do your research. Okay. And if you want to set yourself apart, maybe you need to find a niche that, you have some really awesome stuff that not everybody else in the world has too. So what is the findings? What stuff are you going to find and that you can source at a good enough price that you can flip it here as a reseller? And then the fourth one is fulfillment. Even if you are the most fun and have the greatest fast-paced shows with amazing stuff, if you can't do your fulfillment correctly and in a good way that people are happy with it, your whole tower that you've built is going to come crashing down really fast, because you aren't shipping on time, you're providing crappy customer service. So fulfillment is the base, the foundation for holding up the other three things. You've got to be able to ship and respond and fix and own up to any mistakes you made all that. So fulfillment is a big base. It's the base of what you do, because as you can see, even really big, amazing sellers can all come crashing down if you can't do the fulfillment. Okay. And then the last one is frequency. if you're not here enough, then it's going to be hard to have growth. So you've got to show up enough that people see you often enough and make your shows part of their schedule and see you interacting in the community and out there. So frequency, you've got to be on here enough. And it doesn't have to be as much as some sellers, but enough that you're known and people know who you are and bookmark your shows and come. Okay. So there you go, the 5 F's. And yeah, just a way to help you think through that basic, process and what do I need to do in any of those 5 areas to improve what I'm doing. All right. What questions does anyone have? Is everyone all happy and doing well? I hope everyone's happy and doing well. If you're struggling, what are the things you're struggling with? What do you need help with? What can I guide you to? How can I help? So let me know in chat if you have a question or a comment. Put a question mark even if it's not a question so it shows up bold. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Okay, looks like we're good. So everybody's doing great. Everybody's doing fantastic. Let me know if you're not doing fantastic, or if you have some amazing things to share that are doing great. I love to hear about those too. What are one of the things that we do in our family is I always ask my daughter when she comes home to do laundry, which she now does her own. That's amazing. She's my baby. So I have to admit that I always did her laundry until she left home. And my other kids were like, why? And I'm like, because there's 3 people and I would rather just do her laundry than have her doing tiny little loads on her own. That's a whole different topic, right? Youngest child syndrome, they kind of get babied. Anyway, she comes home on the weekends and I always say, what was your most favorite thing of this week? And what was your least favorite thing or the thing that was the hardest? And it's just really good conversation to learn about the amazing things. And I always usually ask the amazing thing first because I like to hear those first. And it just helps, kids think through the successes and what was amazing and what they enjoyed. And then, you also get to hear about the things they're struggling with. So, yeah. Let's see. Does everyone have an LLC or S Corp? What is decided when making this happen? What is decided? So I do have an LLC. Get a business license in your state. And then if you feel like you want to grow to a certain point, it's probably not a bad idea. But look it up in your state and please have an accountant. Please have an accountant to do your taxes, to help you. Make sure you hire an accountant who knows how to do all the small business stuff. Call the PO. What should I do in this situation? Did I miss something, field trip? I had my first post office thing happen. It says the package was picked up at the post office and marked delivered. The buyer messaged me. I told her to call the post office. So she's claiming she didn't get it, is what you're saying. And they're showing it delivered. Honestly, when I've had that happen, most of the time, it shows up the next day or a few days later. Somehow it hits the last stop and someone goes to the next step and marks it as delivered when it's actually out for delivery. So wait like at least 2 days. And then if it doesn't show up, then she needs to, get help with the order and go through the process. They do make you wait What is the date? The number of days, like, I can't remember, 19 days. I don't know. Whatnot will make them wait a certain number of days to get a refund if it's completely lost. So she just needs to go in and get help with the order and state this is what happens. It shows delivered, but I never showed up. Um, you do have to ask the questions of, like, do you have a secure place where packages get delivered? Is it possible it got stolen? Is it also possible, and she does need to check with the post office, because it is possible, because they can put a trace on it. It is possible it got dropped off at the wrong house. That does happen. So, have her do that, but then also have her click get help with order and file, and then they'll make her wait the certain amount of time, and then they'll process it through if it doesn't show up. So, yeah. But, you do need to ask about the possibility that it got stolen, and that's sad. So, if it did happen, yeah. But she does have that protection to file. All right. But yeah, I do, in the past I have seen that happen where it shows delivered, and really it just got marked one step past the last step, and it was actually out for delivery and got delivered the next day or a day after. So that, and this time of year, all bets are off for who knows what, honestly. So, and here's another little tip. We get a lot of pressure and a lot of, like, oh, this is the biggest sales time of the year, blah, 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 blah. You need to be doing all this stuff, selling like crazy. And I'll tell you what, this is my experience reselling. My best months selling sales wise every single year in the categories that I sell in have always been January through April. Hands down. January through April. I make my most money January through April. Do I make good money in this season? Yes. But the most money, highest sales, January through April. So, I think people are more focused on other things and buying gifts and, other things. And then when January rolls around, they're back to, I've got, I can focus more on myself. Yeah, spend your Christmas money and your tax money, and yeah. So don't be too stressed if you're feeling like, why am I not doing gangbuster sales right now? Well, that's why. In some categories, it is going to be their highest because they're selling things that people buy for other people. But in our category, most of the people buying in our category are buying it for themselves, right? They buy the fabric and the crafts and the sewing stuff for themselves. And so they do better. You do better with that in other times of the year. So, and the slowest months are always the summer. People are focused on other things. And I'm not saying that you won't sell, it's just not the same focus. That makes sense. One for them, two for me. There you go. So, yeah, if you're buying for your sewing friends, that's justified, right? You can buy more fabric because you're going to share with your quilting group or your sewing friends, right? Buy one for them and two for you. I love it. So my worst time is April 15th and election months. Yeah, election years, which we had an election year, right? Election years can be tough. And I would say the last year and a half have been pretty tough because we just have such a, I don't know, it just seems like they get worse and worse every year. I don't know if we've had a great year in the last 20 years as far as, politics not affecting everything we do. It would be nice to have the political agenda people calm the heck down so the rest of us can just live our lives. But in order for that to happen, we need everything to come back to the center because everything is too divisive right now. We've got far left, far right, and then all the weirdos, and then the rest of us, right? The rest of us normal people who are just trying to live our lives. And it's like, for Pete's sakes, we all want the same things. We all want to be able to afford to live, eat, have our families be safe. And can we all just agree on those things and stop trying to pull everybody one way or the other? Anyway, that's my so focus more on what's going on in your local communities and pay less attention. If everybody would do that, it would start improving from the inside out. So focus on what's going on in your neighborhoods, your towns, and make sure things are better there. So, and then it will start improving from the inside out. All right, no more politics. But yeah, that does really affect everything because people get so people get nervous because it's like they know that different things are going to affect the economy and possibly affect security, safety. Everybody's focused on that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you kind of have to step back and go, okay, let's focus on what I can control, which is what's going on in my house, what's going on in my neighborhood, what's going on in my community. Those things I can have some say, some control. The rest of it, you're sitting there focused on what's going on around the world, and you're just like, what can I do? Well, you can do what you can do in your local area to make a difference and make it better where you live. And then it rolls out. So, yeah. Hey, reptile guy, how are you? Welcome in. All right. Any concerns, questions, things people want to talk about? What's going on? What's going on? Here's one thing that I've been concerned about. Because of my focus right now with what's going on in my life with granddaughter and just other things that I'm involved with, church, local things, I'm just not keeping up with the stuff that I would normally do to promote my shows. I just don't have time. And so that's affecting my bottom line. I'll be honest, because I normally would spend a lot more time promoting things on social media, putting videos out there, having my shows ready fast enough that I can share what I'm going to sell, all that kind of stuff. And I just don't have time. And I've been kind of beating myself up about it. And I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. What's important is, the time I get to spend with my family, with my granddaughter, who's only going to be a cute little toddler for a very short time. That's much more important. So if you have, things in your life like that, don't beat yourself up. Focus on what's most important and enjoy that and do what you can, do what you have to do to make it work. Because there are things that are much more important in the long run. So, yeah, just always, put your mindset into priorities and what's more important, and it's okay. It's okay. So, yeah. Oh, thank you, DB Shay. DB Shay is one of my friends that's been on here for so long, and just a great support in our fabric community. Awesome person. Just something about it. I've been dealing with a cold that won't go away. And I know it's partially because I push myself so much. Yeah. And usually viral illnesses like that are your body's way of saying, if you aren't going to slow down, I'm going to slow you down because you're overdoing it. You're not getting enough sleep. You're not eating well, whatever it is, you know? So, yeah, you do have to kind of step back and take care of yourself and, you know, just do it. So, yeah. Could you take an hour and just film a bunch of videos that could have multiple uses? Yes, for sure. And I've done that. So, one thing I do is I go into when I have downtime, which is very rare, but I'm not a big TV watcher, but my husband is. And so, but I like to, spend time with him. So we'll be here watching, I'm casually watching. And while we're doing that, I'm on Canva, making thumbnails, making videos, making things that I can use that are already ready when I need a new thumbnail or a new little video or something to post. Then I just have them saved and I can go through and grab something cute that I've put together. So, yeah, just have things that you can put together and reuse. And I reuse a lot of things. And that's another big thing about listings. Please learn how to use your listings to your advantage. Once you create a listing, even if it sells, you can reuse that listing instead of having to create a new. So if you get a similar or same product, instead of recreating a new listing, go into your inventory. That's done probably on, well, if you're gonna use a sold one, the inventory system on the web version is a little bit easier to work with. But either way, um, just go find that listing and edit it to what you need, add more units and add it to a show instead of having to recreate. I will tell you one of the new updates coming that is still in beta test. I'm not sure why they haven't fully released it yet. Probably just trying to perfect it more. Is AI for you to just click your category, add your pictures, and generate your listing. And they're tweaking it. It works. I would say it works pretty dang well. And then you can just go in and tweak anytime you use AI to create a listing, you just have to tweak it. So that is coming down the pike. Um, if you sell products that already have a UPC code on them, packaged products, you should be taking advantage of the scan the barcode. It works beautifully. It doesn't work great for old vintage stuff because those UPCs are not valid anymore, but it's still, the AI will work for those when it comes out. So if you sell anything that's new in package with UPC codes, when you go to take the picture, instead of download or upload, whatever it says, or take picture, you're going to choose the third option, which is to scan the UPC. You scan it, it brings up the stock photos, it puts in a title and a description, and it also guesses on weight. Make sure you double check the weight. The weights are usually off. Okay. DB Shea says, you are so inspirational. Oh, thank you. I'm chicken to start selling, but I love getting info from you for when I'm ready. Oh, awesome. Yeah. And anytime you want to jump in, I'm here for you. And this whole category is here for you. We know you, we love you, you'll get support. So that's the amazing thing too about being a buyer in our category. If you've been around and have been buying from and coming in and supporting people in this category for a long time, if you decide to sell, you've already got an amazing following, amazing group of friends that will support you. So, yeah. AI is taking over. It is convenient, but you definitely need to always double check what it puts in there, and and don't let AI do all your thinking. Let AI be the tool that it can be, which is to make it so you can think faster or do something faster. Really, that's what AI, in my opinion, is about, is the time. So you come up with the idea and then you allow AI to do it for you faster, or put it together faster than you would have been able to. May says, May Lee, May Lee. I'm afraid to sell because I'm hit or miss on when I'm available and actually having product to sell. So I would say the way to kind of work around that is get a bunch of shows scheduled, and then you just move them and pop on one of those shows that already is on your schedule when you're available. But that way you've already got it on the schedule, and you just, move the time. And having product to sell, here's my advice about inventory. Your most available source is what you already have. You just need to know how to present it, and you need to know to find it. So do some house cleaning, do some spring cleaning, so to speak, and look at what you already have, because if you're on here, you already have too much. But let's be honest. If you're on Whatnot, whether you're just a buyer or you also sell, you already have too much, right? So find the stuff you already have that you want to let go, and figure out how to sell it. What do I mean by that? There are strategies that you can use to sell things that will help you paint the picture. When you're selling, you need to paint the picture and show and tell people why they would want that item. Now, does that mean everybody's going to buy it? No. But that picture, you're painting the picture of what you're going to do with this, how you're going to use it, who you're going to gift it to, why it's going to enhance, some part of your life. Okay. So you need to learn how to sell. Go look up resources about how to sell things. And I'm not talking, used car salesman mentality. You can sell, your own grandma a piece of crap. I'm not talking that mentality. I'm talking about, you have nice things that people would like, but if you don't have the skills to explain it and show it in a way that people understand why they would want it, then you need to improve that, because people are visual. And if you can paint the picture, it's kind of like real estate people staging a house. It's that kind of same thing. If you go into a house and it's cluttered or dirty, or it's even sometimes completely empty, it won't sell. But then you take that home and you clean it up and you stage it, and then people can walk in and visualize that they could live there and visualize their own things, because it's decluttered and just has the basics but looks nice. It's that mentality. So you've got to kind of do the same thing with what you're selling. How are they going to use this? What's it going to be used for? What can I do with it? How am I going to wear it? Who's going to love this that I want to give it to? All those kinds of things. Simply Demarius. I'm a new seller. I create my shipping profile for sticker at 78 cents, but it shows as 478 to my buyers. Any idea why? Yeah. So there's 3 things you have to make sure you've done correctly. And if you missed one of the steps, it will still try to ship it at the base ground advantage rate. So let me pin really quickly the envelope shipping guide. So if you want to send things in an envelope, sorry, I just pinned it. My guide's kind of boring, but first thing is you have to turn it on in your shipping settings and make sure it's turned on for all your shows. And that is to go in and turn on the plain white envelope shipping setting in your shows. So you go to Seller Hub. I don't know why it's doing this on my screen. Okay, so Seller Hub, and then you're going to go to the hamburger menu, shipping settings, and then the very first thing under domestic is to turn this on. Okay, so you go turn that on, right? But if you didn't scroll down and also apply, check that little box. If you didn't check that off to apply it to your existing shows, it won't have updated it to your existing shows. So you need to do that first of all. Okay. So then you do that. And then when you create your listing, your giveaway, you need to put it as a sticker or a trading card. That's your category that you select for the item. So let me just show you when you're in your show and you're creating the listing as a giveaway. So we're going to create a new listing. So hopefully you can see my screen. So the category that you select needs to be, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, sticker is one of the last ones. So either sticker, or if it does happen to be a trading card or sports card, you can select that category. Those are the only 3 categories that allow you to use envelope shipping. So I've got sticker as my category. Okay. And then the third thing, so number 1 was turn on the setting and make sure it's on all your shows. 2 is the category. The third thing is your weight. So your shipping weight needs to be 0 to 1 ounce on the weight. And then you save it. So that's the 3 things. Okay. And if you've done all of that, then it should work. Okay. And maybe ask some people to tell you what the shipping weight shows if you're selling an item. You're not going to know on giveaways because it doesn't show that on the screen. Okay. All right. So that envelope shipping guide that I have pinned, if you want to take a screenshot of that to review, just take a screenshot there. I need to update this one. It's kind of boring. There's also an envelope shipping profile, but use the one that's 0 to 1 ounce. All right. So that should work for you if you do those 3 things. Okay. You are welcome. Yeah. And I'm guessing you probably just accidentally didn't update it to your shows, or, maybe you didn't put the right category on it. So one of those 2 things are the most common mistakes. All right. Let's see. Rock and Habit says, I really like your 5S. Question, how long is too long to be chatting with the chat, or is it okay as long as I'm showing items? I would say as long as you're showing items and running things, chat up as much as is natural for you to be able to chat. I have a hard time chatting and selling at the same time. My brain just kind of goes to mush when I'm live. So I'm lucky because my husband helps me in the shows and he can be in the background singing, chatting, carrying on, and I can be more focused on selling. So whatever works for you. There are some sellers that can chat, sell, stay organized, and do 20 other things all at the same time. They're amazing. Not all of us are as superhuman as some of those sellers. So what's your ability? What's your natural, way of doing things? And figure it out. Yeah. Yes, Bert is the entertainer. He's hilarious. Last night, I was getting kind of frustrated because I kept trying to talk about things and he would be in the background. I'm like, okay, I just have to wait for a second for him to stop talking. And then he would just pick right back up. And I'm like, I need to explain this product. So sometimes we talk over each other a little bit too much, but we have fun. He's a lot of fun. And I kind of just have to tune him out sometimes because otherwise I get distracted and start laughing. Yeah, I do good not to club him. Yes. So, but he's a lot of fun. The other couple I love to watch is Miss Shelley. They chat and sell like crazy. Oh, I'll have to go follow them. Let me tap them and follow them. Ms. Shelley. What do they sell? Let's see. Just trying to live our best lives. Jewelry. Ooh, fun. Yeah, I don't buy in that category, but I'm definitely gonna go watch. So, thanks for that. Telling us. I like to go find new people to watch. They are a hoot. Oh, awesome. Did he have too many coffees? No, ironically, we don't drink any coffee, but I will say he does drink a lot of soda. But it was funny because we were out of non-caffeinated sodas last night, and he doesn't like to drink caffeine before bed. And I'm like, well, so he actually went into the kitchen and drank water because we had no non-caffeinated sodas. So yeah, kind of funny. Yeah, he loves soda. All right. I probably need to get going here because we've got a show to ship and another show to get ready. And let me know in chat while I go find someone for us to raid if you have anything else you want to talk about. And yeah, any of my shows like this, I just have all those resources for you in the show notes and in the auction tab. Make sure you take a few seconds to go look through all of that. And let me go find someone for us to raid. And we'll raid into someone in our category, give them a little boost. Let me see who is live that we can raid into. But I haven't raided. We'll go raid into Burner Nut. She's a good supporter. So she's live. She's the one that has her big dog on her burner. That's a breed of dogs. That's why she uses that. All right, so we'll go right into her. Let me get that started here. All right, thanks everyone. Have an amazing day. And we have a show this afternoon if you want to pop in, and then please bookmark that seller chat that we're doing tomorrow evening talking about goals for the new year. All right, BR. Here we go. Thanks, everyone. Have a marvelous day. See you soon.